Hello, everybody. Welcome to Chaminger Becoming Exceptional Live Happy Hour with your host, Fabian Jagoya. How we doing, everybody? As people slowly roll in and tune in, we'll start sharing stories. For everyone who's watching the recording, as I know most of you end up watching it after the stream is finished, we appreciate you so much for your support, for checking us out. I want you to view these happy hours and these live streams in a different light. So, what do I mean by that? It's an opportunity to get to know your hosts, to get to ask questions that you were curious about. Like maybe we haven't done a deep dive into the problems of living in Jamaica as a kid and the benefits as well. And you want to hear more about that and learn more about that. It's a perfect opportunity to ask that question and get insight. Two, I want you to start seeing these streams as just as an extension of the podcast and our themes and our message. So we cover different topics than what we discuss on our weekly episodes, but there's also going to be overlap. So what do I mean by that? The things that I discussed today are most definitely going to be episodes and content that we will share in episodes, but doing a much deeper analysis. Maybe each one of these topics might be an episode in themselves. So there's something to be said about that. But I'm also curious to know if the message has been resonating, if you guys appreciate the conversation, the live streams. Again, with a certain different time work better, with a different day work better. And I want everyone to also understand that it's not about the number of viewers right now. It's about the people that are part of the community or who are considering joining the community, that they feel the love, that they feel a part of something. And that's something that too many people take for granted. So what do I mean by that? There's so many companies out there, large, small, doesn't really matter, but they don't appreciate their fan base, their followers. And that is why when something happens, let's say their product has a bug, they released an update and things go wrong, or there's some bad press, they really struggle to recover from it because essentially their entire brand, their entire purpose behind it, their company was just sales. And I think there's something to be said about embracing community and giving back to you guys. But that's my soapbox to start it off. Appreciate you guys. And again, if the message is resonating or you're just tuning in and checking it out now, please remember to share this. I appreciate anyone who is tuning in and checking it out because so many people worry about. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but sorry. We got gardening going on outside. Oh my god. Could you close the windows for me, please? So, as you can tell, there's never a perfect setup. There's never a way to control all the variables. But I think there's something to be said about just living in the moment and going with the punches, going with the flow. So again, if you guys are tuning in and you feel like your life is amazing and you're happy, you're satisfied, you're confident, you have zero self-doubt, you are comfortable with who you are self-aware, then what I ask you is people like you and I who have figured that piece out, I'm sure you can relate and agree that that is one of the most life changing things that you can do for yourself. I'd be curious to hear if people disagree with that, but I feel like once you know yourself and you're happy with yourself, you're just free to do anything. Like literally, the sky is the limit. So, why would we not want to help other people and share it with other people who are out there? I know a lot of friends who are struggling, who have struggled for years 8, 9, 10 years since I've known them. And most of them are acquaintances, but I've met them, 10 years ago, and they're in similar spots as they were 10 years ago. There's nothing wrong with that. But I know they want more because when we talked 10 years ago, they said that. They mentioned it to me. So I'm just so excited that finally I can share something and do something that can help these people rise up and start figuring things out that they might not have even been aware of. And if I even make them 1%, 2% happier or more confident or more self aware, then that's all I'm looking for to do. That's all we are looking to do. And I hope other people can relate to that. And I hope that a lot of people can take a step back and almost like forego their ego and realize that helping others rise up and do well in life is so satisfying. And that's all I want because I know where I was. So hopefully other people can resonate with that and again just share the message. And if it's not the Challenger message, just share other words of encouragement or something to people because people really need it, especially right now with COVID. It is crazy how many people that I've talked to that on paper, on Instagram, on Facebook, on whatever, portray themselves as extremely happy, extremely successful, that they've made it. And then I chat with them one on one, like offline or away from their network. And then you find out most of these people admit to me within like 10 minutes that they had been depressed within the last year. So on one side, you have what everything they've posted to social media, which is, hey, I'm happy, I'm successful, everything's going super well. And then they're admitting that they actually had been depressed. So if these people that can still do that are depressed, what about the people who are not posting at all? What about the people who are posting negative things, who are complaining? What do they need? What support are they getting? So that's the goal. And I encourage all of you guys to start viewing it that way. Like, let's help each other out because this has been an insane year. I mean, it's going to be one in the history books. Let's help each other grow. Let's help each other get out of all our ruts and figure out this new normal because as more and more people get the vaccine, things are opening up and that's exciting. I can't wait to see how the world is going to function in a few months. So cheers to that. Thanks for hearing the daily Fabian rant. Today we got the VK soda, vodka sodas. Before I get into the stories that I had advertised on the social media posts about what's going to be talked about, I want to go back and just briefly mention how I discovered vodka sodas. And a lot of people are like, well, what do you mean discovered vodka sodas? Vodka sodas are so basic, so simple. See, I always just preferred like tequila cocktails, tequila shots. I enjoyed vodka cocktails such as I can't even think right now. Vodka martinis, gin martinis, caipirinha, capirosas, a Brazilian drink with vodka, stuff like that. And I also enjoyed whiskey and bourbon on the rocks and just sipping it. So then, like, I'm at parties or networking events, and I'm just sipping in it, or some good Weiss beer, German beer. I love it. But at this sales trip that I had won for President's Club, I got the opportunity to travel to St. Lucia, and I mean, I enjoy drinking socially, but it got to the point where like there were some hardcore heavy drinkers at on this trip. So I had to find a way to survive because so many people were just like, hey, let me get you a shot. Hey, let me get you another drink. Hey, let me do this. And you're chatting with people, and suddenly you're like, no, no, no. But you want to also keep drinking and have the conversation flowing. So then a few people there mentioned to me, "Is like, why don't you do vodka sodas?" And I was like, okay. And then I realized how light they are. And one of the problems is that vodka sodas are refreshing. Or, sorry, not one of the problems. One of the things about vodka sodas is that they refresh you because they also have a lot of water in them, or, that piece. And that was solving the issue of not drinking enough liquid. So, long story short, check out vodka soda, guys. It's the perfect drink to drink at parties or events where you want to have multiple drinks, but you don't want to drink too much. So, with that said, let's get started. I'd love to hear what your guys' drink of choice is, and if you have ever had that struggle at networking events or parties or stuff like that. So the number one topic, the first topic that I want to discuss today, is the number one issue that I found with most people. And it's that they do not know how to sell themselves. And for anyone, if you're just tuning in, we're starting stories. We just briefly mentioned, hey, please share this if it resonates, if you're enjoying it. If you don't like it, please also share that feedback, positive, negative. We love it. And thank you for your support. So most people don't know how to sell themselves. And I think it comes down to like this fear of sales. Like people are like, oh, salespeople are here to take my money. They want something. And there's some truth to that. But there's also this, it really is the struggle of being able to view yourself from an outsider's perspective. So what do I mean by that? Everything other people do that are not us, so when you're not talking about yourself, always seems better. Oh, hey, person A achieved this, person B achieved this, person C achieved this, and they did it so well. They looked better at it than I did. They spoke better than I did. They danced better than I did. They sung better than I did. And you're like, why is everything that they do an amazing feat, but everything that I do, I talk down to myself? That's where it really starts learning how to sell yourself, is being able to view yourself in the same light that you view other people and their accomplishments and their feats and all of that stuff. And once you're able to do that, it completely changes the game. It opens the door to so many different opportunities and perspectives. It really is the game changer. And I highly, highly, highly recommend for everyone to start practicing self-love, acceptance. And that is part of what we're doing here today at Chaminger, is preaching about how people can gain that self-esteem, that self-awareness, that confidence, surrounding themselves by the right people, getting that support that you need to start believing it so that you can start selling yourself. Because I promise you, if I met any of you today and we talked for an hour, the next day I could sell you to someone and you might not even believe that I'm talking about you. We gotta start changing how we view ourselves. You're a lot better than you think, and you need to start believing it. Once you do, it changes things and it opens doors for you. So this leads me to a critical component, and it's the component of comparison. And too many people let comparison steal everything from them. So what do I mean by that? They look at Instagram. They look at what their friends are doing. They look at what their coworkers are doing. They look at what their neighbors are doing, and they compare. And my question to you is, why do you care what any of these people are doing? I used to feel the same way when we're talking about comparisons, just as an example. So, in the past, let's just say, I sold 10 things at my first sales job. Someone else sold 11. Oh my God, he's better than me. Like, I'm not good enough anymore. I'm like, well, why? Maybe there were different circumstances. Maybe I can learn from this other guy. Too many people take it personally, and too many people get their confidence and self esteem by being better than other people rather than just being happy with who they are and loving themselves and recognizing and acknowledging their talent. Welcome back. We were just talking about comparison.
Got it. Don't compare yourself.
Exactly. Right, Leon? Come here, bud. So I want to share a story about that piece, about comparison. And it comes down to, I am sure a lot of people can relate with this. When you go to a party, or you go to an event, or you go to a bar, and there's going to be people that are loud, there's going to be people that overshare, and there's going to be people that brag all about their accomplishments, how much money they have, where they just traveled to, that they just bought a new car, that they did all these things, that they have there's a super hot girlfriend, that they have whatever, their life is amazing. And the problem with that is everyone hears all these things and like, oh my God, what did I do in the last 3 months? I didn't get a new hot girlfriend. I didn't travel the world. I didn't make a lot of money. I didn't get a new job. I didn't, I lost my job. I gained weight. I haven't bought a car. I don't even have, et cetera, et cetera. So now you naturally are comparing yourself to these people, and that's what they want. They want to rule over you by bragging. So the takeaway is that if you've actually gained your self esteem, and you know how to hold your ground, and you know what's up, like who's happy, who's made it. Like I can spot money a mile away. I know if someone's pretending to have money and is actually living a good life, or if they're just, you know, a faker. Are they insecure? But this is a story that just recently happened to me at a party. So I go there with Stephanie, and this random dude comes up to us and starts talking about how he we have never met him before. He's a super successful real estate businessman, and he makes so much money per month and year, and he just got a new property and all this stuff, and he just bought his wife a new diamond bracelet, and he only drinks the top shelf of the top shelf of liquors, and his suit is $2,000. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you sharing all this stuff? I didn't ask you about any of it. He saw that we were new people that he had never met, and he wanted to establish himself as the elite, the successful, all this stuff. He felt the need to brag about his accomplishments. Well, we didn't give a fuck. Part of my language, like, it didn't mean anything to us. And all it told me was, first of all, you're a person I definitely don't want to hang around, and two, you're insecure. So I want people to start realizing that the secret to that is you just hold your ground, and you don't go looking for other people's attention. You just do your thing. You're happy. You're having fun at this party. You're talking to other people, having great conversations. Everyone else is going to pay attention. Like, people pay attention. People pay attention. And they're going to notice. And they're going to notice that you're not going around excessively bragging and all that stuff. But they can tell you got your life together. They can tell that you seem confident, that you have self-esteem. So now they want to know, who is this guy? Who are these people? Who is this couple? So they're going to go up to you, or they're going to inquire about you. You're this great enigma. You're this great mystery. You're keeping the mystery alive. And that's something that I want people to really, that's the takeaway is, that guy thought he was selling himself, but the only people he is tricking are the people who don't know better. It works for a little bit at the beginning, but once you start climbing the ladder, it doesn't. And it's just going to lead you to unhappiness and insecurity. But the takeaway for everyone is if you really want to sell yourself, just understand that you are better than you think. Change your viewpoint on yourself. It's all perspective. And start talking to yourself like how you talk to your best friend. Hopefully, you have a great relationship and you support them and you encourage them and you brag about them and all that stuff. But once you can do that about your accomplishments, you win. And that's why we keep preaching self reflection, self reflection, self reflection. It really is the game changer. Once you realize how good you actually are, I promise you, all of you guys are so much better at so many things than me. And I would love, as this community grows, you guys are going to be able to see that. But it's just hearing it from the right people and cutting out the negative noise. So another topic that I want to discuss very briefly is how everything in life is a transaction and a negotiation, which is why I put so much emphasis and focus on sales. And it let me skyrocket and climb the ladder and all this stuff. The reason for that is think about just even crossing the street. I know this is a crazy example, right? But you're crossing the street and someone's walking in your way. Who goes left? Who goes right? Who moves and who doesn't? That was literally like a sale. That was a transaction. That was a negotiation. Now think about, for example, this podcast, this live stream, this whatever. Every single piece of content, a video, a song, all those things, even if they're not asking for your money, they're asking for something. What is it in this case? We are asking for your attention, for your time. And once you realize that time and attention is the most valuable resource, most people start understanding why it's such a challenge to get people. I mean, I get it. Like, for example, with these live streams, like asking people to spend an hour or so with us during prime time of their day is a big ask. So I understand why a lot of people just end up watching the recordings afterwards. But I just want to put that into perspective for everyone. Is literally, we are right now trying to sell you on, hey, listen to the podcast, watch the podcast, experience the podcast, become part of the community. And we're not even asking for any money. We're asking for time. Once you start realizing that, I mean, just think about inviting people to your event, to a party. You need to market it. You need to sell it. Be like, hey, man, like, this guy's going to be at the party. This girl's going to be at the party. This group of friends is going to be at the party. We're going to have a DJ. We're going to have food. There's going to be live. There's going to be dancing, karaoke. And afterwards, we're going to go party at the local bar. You're convincing people that it's worth their time to go to your thing. And plus, especially if it's on like a weekend or on a Friday evening, those are days that are extremely, extremely valuable to people because most people aren't happy at their job. And now if they only have 2.5 days to spend however they want to make sure that they're using their time wisely. At least they should be. But once you start realizing that everything is literally, you're trying to sell someone on something or convince someone on something, or you're negotiating with something about anything, like, for example, think parenting, everything's a negotiation, So once you understand that concept, you can start using that to climb the ladder, to be happier, to be more successful. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are on that concept, on that topic. So let's move on to another story. I'll take another sip before I gotta clear the throat, Again, if you're tuning in or you're watching this on the recording, please leave a like, leave a comment, share it, share our posts, but most importantly, check out the podcast. Check out the podcast. You can get a pretty good feel listening to any of our episodes. They're all about 30 to 45 minutes. Have one on in the background while you're cooking, or when you're going on a walk, or when you're commuting, and see what you think. It I know it's a little bit of a harsh message. I can't really talk right now. A harsh message for a lot of people, but it's a message that I think needs to be heard. Once people start realizing that they can think differently, a lot of doors open. A lot of doors open. And it's going to be really interesting to see how the response is and how this resonates down the road. Because things take time. Things take time, but I'd be very interested and give it a shot. Um, See what you think. See if it made you feel a certain way. Did it provoke an emotion? Did it make you angry? Did it make you happy? And if so, ask yourself, why did I feel that way? Because if it made you angry, I think that's really interesting. I think that's really interesting, and I think it's not a bad thing. Maybe you don't like how I'm too honest, or I talk about certain things that are taboo according to society. Like that's completely fair feedback. But also, if it made you feel that way, that's a good thing. Everything that is produced or talked about should provoke emotion. So let us know. We read all the comments, we read all messages, and we appreciate all your support. So let's go into my number one secret so that you can really start figuring out people. And this secret is, I know that we're still early on into the brand and we're building this, but this secret this secret changes things once you learn it. So whoever pays attention, you're getting $1 million secret right here. Listen to people. Period. That's it. Listen, study, observe. So what do I mean by that? Think about, could be a coworker, could be your boss, if it's sales, a client that you're interested in selling something to, maybe your parents. Start talking to them. First of all, pay attention how their tone of voice is, body language. Are they being cold? Are they being blunt? Are they being short with you? Are they being excited? All those things are giveaways for how they're feeling. Are they asking about you, or are they only sharing about themselves? If they're only sharing about themselves, that's something you really need to pay attention to. 2, start asking follow-up questions every time something happens. Like just ask them for more information, more information. Doesn't matter how you phrase it, just keep them talking. The reason why I say this is because people talk what is on their mind, what is making them happy, what makes them worried. But really, it really tells you their priorities and their desires. So if someone keeps bringing up a specific thing, pay attention to that. Pay attention to that, because that's not an accident. And it's really telling. And I think most people don't realize that. Like, unless you're aware of that skill, most humans just don't know. They just are talking. But if I'm talking to a random friend and he's just always talking about, oh man, I just feel like no girls want to ever talk to me. No girl, like clearly this guy is feeling insecure about getting rejected and relationship issues. But that's really something that I want people to focus on. Pay attention to what people talk about, because they tell you what they care about when they do that. So like I think up to my clients, like they kept bringing up how they have this biller who always shows up late to work and she never knows how to schedule patients and she doesn't do that, and it just keeps bringing up like randomly, like we are talking about something completely different. It's like, oh, I wish my biller actually knew how to schedule people and showed up on time. Pay attention to that. And when you're just sitting there nodding, listening, and observing, you can see like what part makes them angry, what part makes them excited. All those things are tells. Really, the takeaway is just listen and observe. And people are going to tell you exactly what they prioritize. And once you do that, now you understand how to control the conversation to get people to be more interested. Now, let's go into another story following up on that. So now you know what they're interested in. How do you get them to open up in the first place? Like, literally, how could you get anyone to open up in the first place? It's simple, but it's scary. When you're with a group of people or one particular person and you want them to open up, I did this, by the way, at every single one of my sales meetings and at especially dinner events, networking events. You stop whatever the agenda is, especially your coworkers and people who don't have the confidence to do that and are always make these conversations awkward because they think they only should talk about business. They're doing it wrong. You take a step back and you ask people to share their story or share what, and but you leave it generic like that because what does your story mean to you versus what does it mean to me is going to be completely different. But that's overwhelming. Or maybe you ask them to share one or two facts or right. But what you do is you go first. When you share your story first, when you share your vulnerabilities, when you share a weakness or a story about you or something that you did that's very real and authentic, you set the tone now for the entire conversation. You gave other people permission to feel that way and to open up. Because otherwise, most people are going to be like, oh, well, I went to the University of Washington and I did 4 years of healthcare. And yep, really? That doesn't tell me anything about you. Like, tell me more. Like, what are you into? Why did you go there? Why do you like, like, once you break it down by opening up, that wall that surrounds people that prevents people from opening up just shatters and they're free. And you're not going to have everyone tell their whole life story, right? But you could definitely get them to open up big time and share a lot more than they would originally. And that's, for me, that's something that needs to be paid attention to because it literally will work every single time. I promise you. Doesn't matter who it is. You share something vulnerable or like a weakness and make yourself not look phenomenal, or you give them an example that they can repeat and copy, people will do it. People will open up. And that to me is priceless. That you can literally guarantee that people will share more with you. Because, I mean, I've literally had people tell me that I have shared more with you, Fabian, in the last hour at this networking party, and we just met, than some of my best friends that I've known in 10 years. I mean, it's because no one understands that how to be authentic, how to be vulnerable, and that it's okay. Once you start practicing it, once you start doing it, it's a game changer. I mean, think about it. Does the concept of brutal honesty scare you? So, what do I mean? For example, when I was doing medical software sales, I would meet with these doctors. And if you're a doctor listening to this right now, I love you. But most doctors are pretty conceited. The world worships them. They can do no wrong. And most of them make so much money. So, like, everyone is telling you you're amazing. Of course, the ego gets built up. It's really hard for a doctor not to get ego. But the ones who don't, I respect. So, what ends up happening is they are used to everyone bowing to them. But it's also part of their spiel. So, now when you express brutal honesty, let's say your company fucked up and you tell them this, but you also tell them that they messed something up. I remember the first time that I was brutally honest with the doctor. I'm like, well, no, well, my company messed this up, but you guys did this, and you guys did this, and you guys did this. They respected it. They actually I earned respect from them, and it improves our relationship so much because now, guess what? Now they know that I'm not going to bullshit them. Now they know that they can trust me because I admitted not only weakness, I was vulnerable, but I also told it as it is. Like if every time you meet with someone, they're just giving you fluff answers, do you really believe them? Do you really trust them? Do you really think that they're going to tell you the truth? No. So I recommend maybe not starting with business because and your boss because that can be a little scary, especially if you're not used to it. But try it with your friends. Try it with your family. Try it with people that's a much more safer environment. Try being brutally honest. So, for example, the next time your sister disrespects your needs or your boundaries, call her out. Tell her, be like, hey, look, that's not cool. That's not okay. I've been extremely busy. I've been working hard. I've been doing this. I've been doing that. And I don't appreciate that you did that. Like, all you have to do is text me first and ask me, and then we can figure out something. What's going to happen is two things. Either she gets mad at you and defensive. If she does, it's because it's true. She was disrespecting you. Or if she listens to you, she will now respect you more and she will work on improving it to not repeat it. So that's the takeaway. And if you guys have any question about that, and if you're tuning in or you guys are watching this live or the recording, let me know what you guys think and leave a comment in the chat or send a private message. Send an email to Chaminger. We read them, we look at them, and I love interacting with you guys. And you know, I want to share another piece before I tell one more story about building an audience. And this is something I'm going to talk about a lot more. But I think so many people want to start something, build something, create something, and they worry about appearances. So they never actually try. They never actually do. Well, let me tell you what. Like until you put in the effort and the work, getting loyal followers and loyal viewers is a lot harder than you think it is. Because now they need to tune in every single time and they need to support it. But you want people who actually care, not just someone that is there half-assed. So it's a work in progress, and don't be defeated if it's not happening right away. I think that's my advice to everyone. Just keep doing your thing, and eventually it'll click. And if it doesn't, well, you know what? You tried. You know how many people don't try? You still are going to learn a lot from trying. So let's talk about the last story that I want to share. And this is just some tips about how you can get people to listen to you and do more of your listen to you and believe in you. So I want to talk about the power of three. Three yeses, three nods. So when you are looking to get someone to agree with you, you want to get them into a yes mentality. You want to get them saying yes. And some people might say this is manipulation. I call it just being aware. So what happens? So let's talk about the timeshare job that I used to do. You ask people leading questions such as, hey, do you like to travel? Yes. Perfect. Do you like going to the beach? Yes, I love going to the beach. Do you have a credit card? Yeah, of course I have a credit card. Yes. Okay. So then let's sign up for this vacation timeshare thing. And now you can travel, go to the beach with your credit card. Obviously, that's just a quick random example, but because they said yes 3 times and they're nodding, you get them nodding, they are so much more likely to say yes that fourth time. It is insane. Once you realize that, you have so much more control and so much more power to influence people. And I highly recommend people, I mean, I'm going to share a lot of the tips and stuff like that, but I highly recommend people to look up these books, like these persuasion books and sales books and videos, because charisma, social skills, being able to influence people, motivate people, it is all learnable. It's learnable. Instead of learning about all the celebrity gossip, why don't you spend an hour learning that instead? Because guess what? Being able to have amazing social conversations is going to do you a lot more good in the long term than knowing the latest gossip. But if that latest gossip does make you happy, you do you. I do want to talk about, let's end it here. I think we're going to end the stream with this next story. I want to talk about the power of 2 sips. And it's basically, the concept is make a game about something that you want people to do. So I used to host parties and I would make certain alcoholic beverages and cocktails. Now, one of the things that was really important to me was that people would like the drink. Like, I wanted them to enjoy the drink. I wanted them to really, I wanted them to feel comfortable admitting if they didn't like it. So I created this game, but it really is true. Is if someone really likes something, think about it. They don't only do it once. They don't only eat it once. They don't only drink it once. They don't only listen to that song once if they like it. Like, if someone enjoys something, honestly, if they really do, they will constantly use it. They will constantly talk about it. They'll constantly want it. So you give someone a drink or you make someone a piece of food and they only have one bite or they only have one sip, did they really like it? Did they? There's a chance. But most likely, they just tried it and ate it just out of respect. Probably, like, think about grandma. You tried her food, it's like, oh no, I hate it. But you still might finish it only because it's grandma, you know? But would you do it for a random friend? Now, what I created was I told people, hey, when I'm giving you a drink, you need to do 2 sips if you like it. And 2 significant sips. And it became like a thing. There's people around and everyone's like, oh my God, he did 2 sips. And it was just like such an exciting thing to see that people actually wanted to drink it more. And as usual, everyone who did do 2 sips loved it and they drank maybe way too much. But there was a few people that didn't do 2 sips because that first sip was too strong for them or too sour or whatever it was. And I really appreciate that. So that is one of my secrets, I guess I would say, to getting people to be more socially honest with you and everyone is make a game out of it. Make it different. Make it exciting. Make it something memorable. And it's not hard to do that. It can be anything. Like, I made a game about trying things and being honest if you like it or not by just saying, hey, try it again. That's literally the gist of 2 sips. Try it again. And it's worked wonders for me. So I want people to remember that at the end of the day, social skills are learnable. You can always, always improve them. You got to practice. You know, I wasn't always comfortable talking to everyone, and my public speaking ability wasn't always the best. I used to literally do speeches at parties or weddings, even at weddings that I barely knew anyone. Like, I would be like, yeah, I'll make a speech just from like my short 30-minute interaction with like the couple and a few people there, the family members. The reason why I did that was because, one, I wanted to put myself out there, get extra experience, and push myself. And you know what? That first speech, I'm like, ooh, that was not good. I lost my train of thought. I ended up saying too many filler words. I said, you know, a lot or right. And okay, I asked someone to record it so I could listen to them. Like, oh yeah, that wasn't good. Next speech, the next party, it got better. And by doing something like that, doesn't have to be something as insane as that. It could be something small, like maybe you go talk to everyone at the local Starbucks when you go get your coffee. Just say hi to them. Every single person, like, hey man, like as they're like walking by, like, hello there, good morning. It starts getting you more comfortable and realizing that nothing bad is gonna happen if you do that thing. Oh, what up? We got a comment. That's true, Alejandro. Hey, Alejandro, what's up, man? Um, we can chat a little bit as we're winding down. Well, I'm glad that you enjoy the speeches. Um, they they're not really rehearsed. They're just you think. I always view it as bullet points. Boom, 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 boom. I want to talk about A. I want to talk about B. I want to talk about C. And what do I kind of want to get across? The words in the middle, they're not they're not the most important thing. The most important thing is the overall point. I think people worry too much about the specifics when if you asked, for example, if I asked you right now, do you remember what I said at my last birthday party, like the whole speech, or what I said at our sister's wedding? I'm pretty sure you probably could say no, but I kind of remember like the gist of it, the theme of it. I'd be curious what have to say about that. And by the way, for anyone who's watching the recording after this, this is the fabled Alejandro Chugoya, the co-host of Real Talk. I hope you guys are tuning in to the episodes that are released every single Tuesday as we discuss our past and self-reflect and explore the good times and the bad times of living a diplomat kid life and how it changed us and how it affected us. So check it out, guys. You will definitely not be disappointed. There are some insane stories, and I'm sure many of you guys can relate, even though we've lived a completely unique life and we've done so many weird stuff in comparison. The gist of it is the same. You know, we're all humans. We have our fears, we have our worries, but we we just want to be happy. We want to be confident, and we want to feel loved. I remember similarly from my college course I took in public speaking regarding the bullet points you mentioned. And yes, I think the gist and the feeling of it is what stands out. Yeah. I mean, there are like techniques and classes that kind of go over like an intro of it where they're like, hey, um, you want to kind of introduce you first say thank you, obviously. I mean, it can be broken down to a science, but when you just speak from your heart, people listen. It's what are you trying to get across by talking? Like, are you just trying to get people to like you? Then it's different. But if you're actually trying to communicate something, it's crazy. I didn't know you took a public speaking class. That's interesting. I mean, that was crazy. That was I mean, we're not going to go into the details right now. I don't think everyone needs to know all that, but that was a crazy wedding. And I know you and I stepped up big time, man. So that was really cool emceeing a wedding and having you help co-organize and host everything because it was kind of like last minute and unexpected. So the fact that we could do that, that was badass. That was really badass. Did you enjoy that? Do you feel like that helped you like overcome anything or it pushed you? Well, for anyone tuning in, we were winding down, but if there's people hanging out, I will gladly chat for a little bit and do Q&A. I highly recommend, excuse me, that you go back and watch the recording after this is done. You can skip around a little bit, but the gist of it was obviously the beginning. I wanted to share discussion about why we're doing this. The stream is an extension of the podcast. We are really looking for people to just hear what we have to say and see if it resonates. I don't need anyone to be 100% loyal and like everything and comment on everything. But if it made you feel something, that that is the key that I want everyone to pay attention to. If you feel something from like the episodes or from a clip that you saw on social media or this live stream, share it with other people, because so many people are struggling right now with COVID. And I'm telling you, there's so many people that had success that don't feel comfortable admitting that they also had struggles. So let that be. Use Chaminger, use us as your rock to justify, admitting that, hey, even though I've had a lot of success, there's still been certain struggles in my life, and that's okay. You know, we all have them, and we'll overcome. Well, Alejandro, did you just get back from work? Because we're going approaching the hour mark, and I think we're going to wrap it up here. But if you don't have any other questions or stories to share, appreciate you, everyone who tuned in. Thanks for commenting, brother. And make sure you guys follow us on social media. There are some really cool clips and segments that you definitely need to check out. We are taking those pieces from the actual podcast episodes. We have the video episodes on YouTube, and we have the audio on Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon, Pandora, Stitcher, etc. on all your podcast directories. It was a very good experience. It did help me push me out of my comfort zone. It was hectic, but it pushed me to make sure to be a success, and I think that helped. Well, we were literally the unsung heroes. The best part is that we made it seem like, you know, it was all according to plan. And I think that that is what, I mean, if you talk to anyone who does official event planning and like they charge a lot of money for it, you're going to find out that the common theme is they're going to say the goal is you're not going to even know we're here. Everything is just going to go smoothly without a hitch. If you need to talk to us, then we didn't do our job correctly. That's really the goal, you know? Or that everything seems like everything went according to plan. That's also the secret. But I think we managed that, and I think it's cool. I mean, you know what's interesting that I just remembered, Alejandro, is that I feel like once everyone left, like it was just you and me basically being roommates as brothers. Right after college, we started doing like, I was like, hey, let's try this crazy thing, or let's do this, let's do that. And I feel like that was really the start of when I was like, hey, gotta try things, gotta get out of our comfort zone. And I'm curious if that time period resonated with you at all. Remember like when we went like the Mexican Independence party and the Oktoberfest and stuff like that. There's some good memories. And once again, guys, if you're watching this live or on the recording, thank you for being a Challenger. This is only the beginning, but I would love to hear feedback. Do you prefer a different time, a different day? Is this time challenging to tune in on and listen? Or let us know what works for you. But again, for everyone who's watching and they're like, well, why are they live streaming if this is a podcast? Just remember that we're building community. We're building a safety net for people that do need to overcome issues and don't feel like they are where they need to be. Because at the end of the day, everyone needs everyone needs support, and we're here to do that. Well, Alejandro, I hope you're not typing anything because I'm going to cancel the stream. But if you do, oh, okay, perfect. Very good memories. Definitely felt out of my element at times, but that also helps reinforce one's likes and dislikes when you experience new things. Well, I thought you did an amazing job, and that's it starts with getting out of your element. 'Cause, the first time you try something, you're probably gonna fail. But what you got to do, you got to change your view on failure. View it as a lesson. And with that, hey, I appreciate the support. Thanks for tuning in, and let us know what your favorite part is. And if you haven't already, enjoy the rest of your happy hour with your friends, family. Make sure you check out Chaminger and all the social medias and our podcast. And enjoy your weekend. Well, Alejandro, looking back, I would say that you, I think you did a good job. Yeah, you could embrace more. You always can do more, but you have to start somewhere, you know? Like, how can you just go from zero to hero? I mean, some people can, and I think you did. I mean, just you remember at the parties, people always be like, "Hey, what up, Alejandro?" and his dancing and all this stuff. The fact that you could always do that so many people wish they could do, I always cheers that. I love that. It always just reminded me, like, I told him, like, let's just go up there, man, and dance, and you did it. So I always respected it. But oh, by the way, I'll message you after this. I would love to. We're planning to record, and spoilers for everyone who gets to hear this. That's why you tune into the live stream. You get the spoilers. I've met this other diplomat guy that I was a guest on his podcast, and I would love to have you on, and we could do a talk where it's him, you, and me, so 3 diplomat kids, and it would be not this weekend but the following weekend. So let me know like how that Saturday works. I think it'd be really cool to hear his stories, our stories, and bounce it off. And I know it's crazy to actually talking with someone who grew up very similarly. Instantly we could relate and connect, and I'm like, okay, if I went to a school full of diplomat kids, I probably could connect with them now, or let's say a job or a company. But look forward to it, man. All right, guys. For everyone else, Challenger out. Appreciate you. Take care. Let's do it.